was rejected from medical school 7 times before I finally got my offer. So I would say I am pretty experienced in the whole rejection side of things. So in this video I'm going to be talking about if I was rejected again in 2023, what would I do? So if you're new here, my name's Amelia and I'm a second year medical student. So before we get into it, I'm just going to give you a quick back and story of my journey into medicine, because it was definitely not plain sailing. So I applied to medical school in 2020 and I applied to 4 medical schools. So I applied to Liverpool, Birmingham, Cardiff and Manchester. I got an interview for Liverpool and then shortly after that I got rejected from all of my medical schools, and honestly I cannot tell you how heartbroken I was. I was literally just so devastated. I'm not going to say I expected to get accepted to all of them, because I really didn't, but I really don't think I realised how difficult it was to get into medical school until that point where I had my 4 rejections and I was stood there thinking, how on earth am I going to do this? So I decided to take a gap year and reapply the next year. So I reapplied in 2021 to 4 medical schools again. Reapplied to Liverpool, I applied to Hull York Medical School, Anglia Ruskin and Keele. I got my 3 rejections again and I was literally waiting for my 4th one to come through. I was like, any days now it's going to come through, rejected from wherever. So I got the email and it said, congratulations, you've been accepted to Hull York Medical School. I was so shocked. Like, when I got that email, I'm going to keep it real, I wasn't even happy, because I had been planning my second gap year, because I just fully thought I was getting rejected again and I'm taking the gap year, and I got that offer through and I was like, oh my god, like, this isn't part of the plan. But obviously after it had sunk in and the shock had kind of gone, I was obviously over the moon. And 2 years on, I am going into my 2nd year of medical school and it's been absolutely great. So that is my story into medicine. This is your sign that if you really want to do medicine, do not give up. Just keep pushing and keep going. Honestly, you could be 1 rejection away from getting your offer. I'm a prime example of that, because on my 7th rejection, I was literally like, you know what, it's done. I'm taking another gap year. And then next minute I get my offer through. And if I wouldn't have reapplied the 2nd year, I would never have got that offer. So it's so important to just keep going. If it's something you want to do, keep pushing. As I said, you may be 1 rejection away from getting your offer. That leads me on to my first question to you, which is, do you still want to do medicine? This is a really important question to answer before you proceed any further. Obviously I was talking about if this is something you want to do, you should keep going and never give up. That is so true and I still stand by that. However, there's no point wasting your time on trying to get into medical school if it's not something you really want to do. There's no point wasting your time on anything if it's not really something you want to do. So that rule sticks to this as well. So if you're still watching this video by now, I'm guessing you answered the last question yes, and you do want to do medicine. Regardless of the past, regardless of your rejections, regardless of the journey that you may or may not have had so far. So that leads me on to my next question, which is, why were you rejected? You can't move forward if you've not figured out where you've gone wrong and what you need to improve. There are so many reasons why people are rejected. I literally would not be able to think of them all, because there's so many little or large reasons people are rejected. So the application process is made up of 5 parts, and people are usually rejected because of one of these 5 parts. So that is grades, your UCAT, your work experience, your personal statement or your interview. So let's just point out some of the reasons that people may be rejected. So the first one could be UCAT, which could be down to a low score or a low situational judgment band, or just not applying to the correct medical schools that your score fits with. So the second one is grades, so you could have low GCSE grades or low A-level grades that don't meet the criteria, or even the wrong A-levels which don't fit the criteria for that specific medical school. The third one is work experience. So this is a bit of a grey area, because while it is definitely a factor, it more links into your personal statement. Because as I discussed in other videos, work experience is so important to prove to yourself that you want to do medicine, but also show that you have some sort of insight into medicine when you're applying to medicine. But You can use literally anything as work experience as long as you reflect and look at what it's taught you. Like, for example, walking your neighbour's dog or volunteering at a charity shop all teach you different things which would be relevant to medicine. However, I say it links into your personal statement, and let's move on to the fourth reason that people are rejected from medicine, which is personal statement. So this is really key where the work experience links in, because in your personal statement, you're going to be talking about all the work experience and all the things that you've been doing to work towards going to medical school. So reasons people could be rejected from medical school because of their personal statement / work experience is because you may not have reflected in your work experience, you may have not shown insight into knowing what medicine is about, you may have had a lack of experience or not known what to talk about in your personal statement, or even just not talking about what you've learned from the work experience can also be a factor why people get rejected from medical school. The fifth section why people may get rejected from medical school is due to their interview. I love a good interview, but obviously it's not everyone's cup of tea. Some people absolutely hate interviews. You may get rejected from your interview for not being prepared or being too prepared and sounding robotic, or you could be so prepared but just feel nervous on the day, which may affect your communication, body language, or even something as little as not knowing your personal statement. The medical school asks you about your personal statement and you don't know what they're talking about. That's not going to look good on your behalf. So there's so many reasons why people can be rejected from medical school. And obviously there's more reasons than I've just mentioned, but they're just the ones that really spring to my head when I think about reasons why people may be rejected from medical school. When I think about why I was rejected from medical school, I think my weakest areas were my UCAT, because I definitely don't think I had a very competitive UCAT score. And my other weak area was my personal statement, because I really don't like writing essays, and obviously I did have help with my personal statement in terms of people proofreading it, but I don't think my personal statement was as competitive as it needed to be. But saying that, 2 years on and I am going into my second year medical school, so I've obviously done something right along the way. I just think it's really important to be able to reflect, which is something you should be doing in your personal statement, and think, where did I go wrong? From that list I've just covered, it may not even cover the reason why you got rejected from medical school. It may give you some ideas or some tips on why other people get rejected from medical school so you don't make the same mistakes. But it doesn't mean that you made one of those mistakes. The point I'm making is you just need to think and reflect on maybe some reasons why you didn't get accepted to medical school, and it could be multiple, it could be one, it could be multiple. I've got 2, 3 maybe that I definitely think I could have improved on. It doesn't even have to be a mistake that you've made, but you just need to sit down and really think about your application as a whole and where you can improve. Obviously, I appreciate there's so many different reasons why people get rejected from medical school, even things like personal circumstances or missing deadlines or things that I've just not mentioned and probably haven't even thought of. A good tip is that you can actually reach out to the medical school and ask for feedback on why you got rejected, or even after your interview you can ask for feedback on where you can improve, which is definitely something you should do if you have been rejected, because obviously you're wanting to not make the same mistakes again and really build and strengthen your application. And also you can go into the UCAS website onto your current application, and if it's rejected it will say view reasons, so you can look at the reason why your application wasn't successful. The reasons on UCAS aren't always very detailed, but it will give you some sort of indication. I think one of mine just said low UCAT score or something like that, but it's definitely good for some indication on why you got rejected and where you can improve. And this brings me on to my third and final question, which is, what can you do about it? So we've kind of touched on this a little bit in the last section when I was talking about identifying and then strengthening your application, but this is the part that is the make or break. Now that you've identified the reason or multiple reasons why you got rejected, it's really important to think about what you can do about it and how you can avoid making that mistake in future. So you're going to split this into 2 parts. Part 1 is what route you're going to take. So I'm not going to talk about this too much because I have got a whole video on different routes into medicine, which you definitely should take a watch if you don't know where to go next in your journey into medicine. When I say different routes into medicine, I mean, like, are you going to take a gap year and reapply? Are you going to retake your A levels? Are you going to do an access to medicine course? Are you going to do another degree first? Different things and different pathways on your journey into medicine and into getting your acceptance. And part 2, physical things you can do to improve your application, and that's what we're really going to focus in on this last bit of the video. So now you've identified the reason why you've been rejected, or the multiple reasons why you've been rejected, you're going to really think about what you can do to improve them and what you can really do to avoid making those mistakes again. For example, if you got a low UCAT score, how are you going to improve your score next time and make sure you get a higher score next time you sit the UCAT? Are you going to start practicing earlier? Are you going to prepare more? Are you going to look at your technique? Are you going to change your strategies? How are you going to make sure that the next time you sit this UCAT, you get a better score? Or for example, if you get nervous during your interview, how are you going to try and tackle these nerves so that they don't trip you up next time? Are you going to practice with people you don't know, so you're a bit more out of your comfort zone? Are you going to prepare more? Are you going to get people to ask you questions that you don't know, so you're not expecting it? What are you going to do to make sure that these nerves don't trip you up the next time you get a medical school interview? So you get the gist of what it is I'm getting at. You need to think about where you're lacking and how you're going to improve to come back fighting strong. So that's the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you find it helpful on your journey into medical school, and I hope giving you some sort of advice that may be helping you if you're in a bit of a difficult position where you don't know what to do when you've been rejected, or just even on your journey into med in general. Obviously, I'm just talking about my experience and what I would do if I found myself with an 8th rejection. Hopefully that's not the case, because hopefully I'm in medical school for the long run now. Obviously, I'm more than happy to help where I can, if I can. Anyone who's struggling with their journey into medical school, with rejections, or just some advice, I'll try my best to help. So just give me a message if that's the case. But thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you've enjoyed, and if you have enjoyed, I would really love it if you would like and comment down below and subscribe to my channel. Thank you again for watching, and I wish you all the best luck in your journey into medicine.